This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, everybody. We're tuning in here today with Torrey Mattson from RLP Community Realty down in Medicine Hat. Torrey is a phenomenal realtor down there, does a super good job with all of his clients, and he's always been a high engaging guy. And we've really appreciated being able to network with him and to pull ideas out of his head in the past. So I thought, Torrey, you'd be a great person to sort of reach out to in a time like this, to share some of the things that you're doing with your business and your clients and stuff like that. So how are you actually spending your time these days?
You know what, every day is so different, right? It's and I know depending on what's going on a work side of things, on what's going on at home. We've got 3 young kids at home that we're trying to educate as well. So every day is so different. Yesterday I was teaching grade 6 math and teaching cutting and coloring to another one, and I found out pretty quick I'm not very good at either one of those things. So yeah, every day is different, and as far as engaging with clients and stuff like that, it's tough, and I know that you guys see it as well. It's a hard time to go out there promoting yourself and looking for business. It's a really hard time because people, for the most part, don't want to hear it. They don't want to see it. They can see it as greed, or they can see it as just this bullish attitude in a tough time, and that's not what we're trying to get across. And I sent a video out on my social media right kind of at the start of this whole thing, just to say, listen, guys, we know that you guys all have bigger things going on, and you've got a lot of different stresses in your life, and we don't need to be ramming real estate down your throat. But given that, we've also got clients right now that their real estate situation is their everything, and they still need to sell their house. They still need to find a home to buy. They still need to go look at properties, even though it's harder to do, and we're signing forms with consent and health checkups and things like that. Everything is a lot tougher to do, but it still needs to be done for some of those people. Obviously some clients aren't in such a tough situation where they can't wait a month or 2 months or whatever this takes. And we're trying to urge those people to be patient and kind of ride this out and do what they need to do. But it's riding that balance, right? It's a really fine line between engaging with people and really being present to an extent where they don't want to see it anymore. So it really is. It's a tricky balance.
Yeah. So one of the things that we see a lot of great agents like yourself doing is reaching out to the clients, not in a sales way, but more of like a check-in, right? So I'm sure you've done those types of things. How are your clients reacting to you, just checking in on them and saying like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? What are you getting out of that?
You know what? I think there's certainly an appreciation there, but we have to do it from a distance at times, where a lot of times, maybe a knock on the door and a pop by is easy. And I have multiple clients that are just on my drive home between the office and my house. So that's easy enough to do sometimes, but at these times, they don't want to see somebody show up on their doorstep with, a little gift or anything like that. They're scared to touch it. They're scared to, shake your hand. They're scared to be within 6 feet of you. So those things are tricky. So, we're relying on technology, and, we've got people in our community. Medicine, that's a small city. It's just over 60,000 people. So we get to know a lot of people in the city, and we've got a lot of community leaders here that are teaching us, listen, it doesn't need to be a sit down date at Tim Hortons. It can be as simple as, hey, FaceTime me for 3 minutes. If that's all you got, we'll have a virtual coffee and we'll just chat and just to check in and see how we're doing. Because you know what, I don't know, this is one of those situations where mental toughness is really tested, and we're pushing the borders of depression and things like that with a lot of people, and mental health is so important to check in on. So sometimes just that 2-3 minute call or 2 or 3 minute FaceTime can be all the difference between them saying, hey, I'm having a really crappy day, or you know what, I just had a check-in for my realtor. He hasn't sold me a house in 6 years, but he checked in just to see how I'm doing, and a lot of people appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And I bet you, Tori, and maybe you feel the same, that, other professionals maybe aren't doing this, right? Maybe you're not getting a call from your doctor and your lawyer and your accountant and things like that. So, really reinforcing the relationship that you have with your clients from the real estate point of view, when you're coming from contribution and not trying to sell them anything, is like, it's like the key thing right now, isn't it? Right?
For sure, no question. And I think the key is, you know, as you can see, I'm working in my messy house right now. I've got like kids' crafts and stuff set up behind me, and it's not always ideal to be doing what we typically do on a day-to-day basis. But I think it's important that we stick to our systems. You know, stay on our CRM systems, stay with our point of contact systems with our clients. Keep sending out those birthday cards. Keep sending out those house anniversary cards, or whatever it is that you send your clients. Don't use this as an excuse to stop doing that, because if you're going to use this as an excuse, then you're going to see people leapfrog you in this business once we get back to some sort of sense of normal.
Yeah, so you're still working your database and doing all the things that you used to do, that you can still do without actually being in front of people, right?
I think harder now than ever before. I mean,
Yeah.
we've got the time to do it, right? We've got the time to sit at our computer where we normally don't, and really, you know, work our database and do those reach outs that, you know, maybe we typically wouldn't have a chance to do. And why wouldn't we, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's better than grade 6 math, I can tell you that.
So do you find that you have time now to do things that are kind of been backburnered for a while? Like, are you getting into any of your stuff that you kind of knew you wanted to do, but you just couldn't get to it because you were busy?
A little bit, but not as much as we'd like. And only because a lot of the things that we kind of had coming down the pipe as far as, you know, communication with clients and point of contact kind of things, really involved being social and being close with them and, you know, being face to face. And now we're not allowed to do that. So some of those things got backburnered for sure. And some of them might just require a change as far as how you get those things out to people. But at the end of the day, we're still always thinking every day about how we can, you know, stay in touch, because really, I mean, as much as, you know, I might have days in my home office feeling claustrophobic and feeling crowded by kids and everything else, everybody's feeling that way. And
Yeah.
you know, everybody, I think, appreciates and looks forward to some sort of a point of contact with somebody outside their own household. So,
right.
you know, maybe it's not the system or whatever we meant to deliver, but just a little change, just to still reach out to them. It could make their day, their week, their month, and it could be the difference between them recommending us to one of their friends or not. So,
yeah, well, that's so true, isn't it? So, Torrey, is there anything that you think that we should talk about? Any advice that you think that you want to share, or anything like that for anybody who happens to listen to this video?
oh boy.
Tough one, hey?
It is. Yeah, you kind of got me on the spot. I think the biggest struggle I'm having right now, the struggle isn't staying in touch with people, because we're so lucky that this wasn't 30 years ago. I mean, we've got the technology to do things like this right now, and, you know, cell phones and you know, check out listings online and virtual tours, and everything that we have at our fingertips is just phenomenal, right? So we really are spoiled that way, and it's really coming into play in a situation like this. I think the biggest challenge I have right now, in my mind anyway, and I touched on it earlier, was just being able to do our job for our sellers the way we normally do, without feeling like we're pushing people to the brink.
Right.
You know, they've got a lot of stresses, and if they see new listing after new sold sign after new, hey, great deal here, great deal there, there's going to be a certain amount of the population that don't want to see that at this point, because they've got money stress and they've got kids stress and school stress and everything else. They don't need to see it. They're going to stop following us on social media. They're going to just push back. And I've heard of agents really kind of getting shamed almost because they still continue to work. But I think I kind of headed that off right at the start by putting out that video and saying, listen, we've still got clients that need us. In a lot of cases, our clients, you know, their home is sometimes their greatest asset, and a purchase or a sale of that home can mean the world to them right now, maybe more so now than ever before. So if they've got financial struggles and they need to cash out their equity, you know, they need us more now than ever, and we just need to kind of let them know, hey, we're still here for you. We're still going to do our best. Obviously, we have restrictions, but we're going to do our best. And you know, I think that's all we can really continue to do. But as far as advertising our listings and things like that, the way we normally would, and really keep a strong social media presence, it's a lot harder to justify doing that right now. So that's kind of the balance that I'm struggling with, and I'm sure others probably are as well.
Yeah, so it seems like the underlying tones of what's going on right now is that we can't be putting ourselves out as having victories in terms of sales and stuff like that. The messaging has to be about checking in and making sure people are okay. But then also that there's there's an underlying understanding that life has to go on and business is still important and homes need to get sold for a certain amount of people. And in Calgary anyway, and you tell me if this is happening in Medicine Hat, we've actually seen all of our supporting supply chain type companies adapt to this as well. So like house inspectors and that kind of thing. Are you guys seeing those guys stepping up and changing their practices to make everybody comfortable down there?
Totally. I took on a new listing here this week, and just having a photographer that was willing to go out and take photos of the property. He wasn't willing to do it unless the property was vacant, which fortunately it was. We've got a measurement specialist here that kind of felt the same way. He didn't want to go into anything that wasn't vacant as well. So they're really stepping it back and doing their part, and as they should, as far as doing the whole stay home thing and self-isolate and all that stuff. But it presents challenges, but I don't know, I think it presents opportunity as well.
Right.
We've got to look at the positive side of this any way we can. I talked to a client this morning. We actually had a possession on their property this morning, and they were just feeling really fortunate that the possession went through with everything going on, and really thankful. And she said something that kind of stuck with me. She said, so there's people that can go through this, and that they're always going to approach it a different way. And some people are just going to put their head down and keep forging forward, and some people are just going to put their head down. And we need to decide what we're going to do. And I've always been the maybe cautiously optimistic type, where I'm going to keep looking forward. I'm going to keep my chin up and try to find some opportunity to help people any way we can. Maybe we can't use our social media the same way we did before, or use our network the same way we did before, but maybe this is an opportunity for us to help others that are struggling. We've got a lot of friends in Medicine Hat that are, they've got several different businesses, restaurants especially, where, if they're still doing takeout food and they're presenting some sort of a discount to, come in and pick up your food and take it home, I'll go grab a bag of food and, take a picture and share that and share the deal with people so that maybe other people help those people, right? Help your community out, because at the end of the day, it's all going to come around full circle, and they're eventually going to be able to help you out too. Maybe they can't afford to buy a house right now, given everything that's going on, but 5 years from now, if they remember how much we help them now, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, how that's a great point. How important is that to support the local businesses in your community, right?
It's everything. I mean, obviously we're in a different situation than you guys with just over 60,000 people, but this community has always been amazing. I've been here 21 years, and it's always been amazing as far as supporting each other in business and in opportunity, and that's always going to continue, I think. But I mean, those relationships are really put to the test in a situation like this, and we can choose again if we want to just bury our head in the sand and just wait this out, or if we want to find some optimism in this and try to help people out. And listen, the realization here is that some of these businesses that are closing right now might not reopen. So let's do our best to help those people out, whether they're clients or not. Just support our community, and good news travels a lot faster than bad news sometimes.
Right.
So if we can help somebody out by going and grabbing some takeout, or just giving somebody a shout out, just let them know they're doing a good job, and good for you guys for doing what you're doing. It can go a long way.
Oh yeah, spread the joy, spread the awareness, help the community. I love all that. So
Absolutely.
how important do you think what you're doing today is to your business like 30, 60, 90 days from now?
We'll know in 30, 60, or 90 days. It's hard to say. We're still trying to stay creative. Our team has always, thrived on being creative and doing what others aren't.
Right. That's one of the things that we love about your team, right? You're always out of the box thinking. You're always coming up with all these great innovative ways of approaching things, and I really think you kill it. But I want to know down the pipe what's going to happen. Like, you're doing all these activities, you're building these relationships. Is this going to lead to a positive thing down the road, or do you think the approach that people should be taking right now is, you know, batten down the hatches and stay on your couch?
You know what, I think that you're probably telling your agents the same thing that I'm thinking, and that is, listen, if we're not doing these things right now, this could be the difference between survival and defeat in this business. So if we're not reaching out to people, if we're not helping people, if we're not, you know, staying in touch and you know, making those little shout outs or making those, you know, 3 or 5 minute FaceTimes with people just to see how they're doing, you know, that can be the difference between survival and non-survival in this business. And we don't know how long this thing's going to last. The unpredictability of the whole thing is the hardest part of this whole thing, right? If we knew that this is going to be done in 2 weeks and it's going to be life as normal, then easy, we can all get through this, but nobody knows. Yeah. So I think it's vital. And I think, you know, no different than these restaurants that are closing that might not reopen again. You know, realtors are the same way. Some of these realtors might not be able to survive this business if they don't go out and do these things right now. And, you know, it doesn't matter how big your database is. Even if you're a year into the business and you've only got, you know, 15 past clients that you need to reach out to them. Reach out to them multiple times. Reach out to them once a week. You know, do whatever you need to do to stay in touch with them and make sure that they know, hey, you may have bought a house a year ago, but I'm still thinking about you. And you know, I hope you're doing well and your family's staying healthy and you're surviving through this. I think that's going to be the difference between making it or not. And, you know, whenever the end of this thing comes, you know, the strong are going to survive, and we've just got to stay strong.
I think that's great advice. Yeah, so good. All right, so Torrey, I'm going to turn off the recording, but before I do that, I really wanted to thank you very much for taking the time to share your thoughts and ideas with everybody.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Ben, you're a wealth of knowledge, and I think, you know, in all honesty, one of the best realtors in the province. And you know, you and your team, like I said earlier, out of the box thinkers, always approaching things with a positive mental attitude, and you're just really somebody that I enjoy having in my network. So again, thank you. Just stay on the line after I turn the recording off so we can chat. But I do really appreciate you sharing everything with us today.
Likewise, man. I see you guys the same way. You're rocking it in Calgary, and I appreciate the relationship that we've got, and I know it's always nice to be able to connect with you guys when we're in Calgary, and it's not enough, and especially right now, we would love to be up there and yeah, you know, have a drink with you or something. But you know, until that day comes, let's stay in touch, and you know, to you and your whole team at Benchmark, you know, best of luck through this whole thing.
We'll be doing a virtual happy hour sometime next week with all the realtors in the province, so we'll tune you in on that. Yeah,
let's do that.
Okay, buddy. Thanks.
You're welcome.